This is my favorite part of the museum.
What the hell is this?
This is my father.
In 1988, Amiri Baraka writes about Black author Henry Dumas. Dumas's power lay in his skill at creating an entirely different world organically connected to this one. The stories are fables. A mythological presence pervades. They are morality tales, magical, resonating dream emotions and images.
Resistance is a symptom of the way things are.
Shifting, ambiguous terror, mystery, implied revelation. But they are also stories of real life, now or whenever. Constructed in weirdness and poetry. To Dumas's work, Baraka applied the term Afro-Surreal Expressionism.
Hello?
Something off.
Donald Glover's Atlanta is about a place, a world where something feels unreal. The characters see it, they know it, and you can feel it too.
This place feels weird to you, right?
Things are weird. Something is off. Something isn't right.
This place sucks.
What is it?
Is this real?
No. No, it is not.
This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream. Get access to my videos and podcasts early and ad-free on Nebula when you sign up for CuriosityStream today. When show creator Donald Glover said in a now deleted tweet that the only thing that could compete with seasons 3 and 4 of Atlanta would be The Sopranos, I would have laughed it off as hubris if the comparison between the two shows wasn't already so appropriate. Atlanta is technically excellent. The filmmaking is precise, visually interesting, and evocative. The camera work is always intentional and meaningful. Shots never feel out of place. It's well paced and edited, and it does all of this while being a show that takes big risks in its approach to storytelling. The Sopranos established a set of characters and had a loose plot that ran from season to season, but it was always more interested in exploring interesting corners of its time and place and the characters who inhabited that space. It slowly constructs a sense of the atmosphere, not just of New Jersey, but of a particular culture and experience there. But it defied stereotypes about the mob to present the everyday life of its characters. Like The Sopranos, Atlanta has a loose plot, but it's much more interested in sketching the texture of its world. Each episode becomes a unique individual stroke that together creates a portrait. The episode set within a local public broadcast, or the episode examining a mysterious character, or the one about a New Year's Eve party at Drake's mansion, and many others aren't about furthering the plot. They are about doing what the show is best at, which is filling in the essence of a location, time, place, and experience. But the portrait, the experience that is defined by these strokes, is not sketched in the style of realism, but something else.
It's Justin Bieber.
There are the obvious things. In this world, Justin Bieber is black. There are invisible cars. Strange men offer you bites of a sandwich on the bus.
Bite this sandwich.
Talking about these elements, people frequently throw out the word surreal. Besides The Sopranos, another genre-breaking revolutionary show that Atlanta is descending from is Twin Peaks, a show that also explored a location where things felt off and which used surrealism extensively to do so. At one point, Glover described Atlanta as Twin Peaks with rappers, and when in the first episode the man shows up and offers Ern a sandwich, it puts off a distinctly Twin Peaks kind of vibe. But surrealism doesn't tell the whole story of what Atlanta is doing. Unlike Twin Peaks, these strange occurrences don't fascinate or garner the obsession of the characters who encounter them. They simply punctuate a deeper, more pervasive sense of strangeness, that something is wrong.
Is there an alligator in there? Yeah.
What Amiri Baraka wrote about Henry Dumas's work as Afro-Surreal Expressionism could easily be applied to the show Atlanta today.
I'm going to write a manifesto. I'm going to put it in a local newspaper and see if it has international impact over the years. And it did.
That's Scot Miller, who in 2009, with the permission of Baraka, dropped expressionism from the term and wrote a manifesto titled Call It Afro-Surreal. Miller's manifesto would identify and catalyze a movement that has spread and grown significantly since then. What Baraka and then Miller identified primarily in literature was spreading into visual arts and then film and TV.
I've been suspecting that Donald Glover has been aware of Afro-Surrealism for quite some time now. In fact, when I saw This Is America video, I pointed to it and I said, that's Afro-Surreal. Then I saw Kendrick Lamar's All Right video, where it's got cops carrying a car. That's Afro-Surreal too.
Miller's manifesto speaks of unknown worlds emerging, that Afro-Surreal presupposes that beyond this visible world, there is an invisible world striving to manifest. The manifesto says Afro-Surrealism sees that all others who create from their actual lived experience are surrealist.
So how do you distinguish between surrealism and Afro-Surrealism? How are they different, right? Well, the way that surrealists used to do their thing was automatic writing, seances, drugs. In order to get above reality, these people used to have to use techniques. And what I'm saying is if you're dealing with an absurd fiction every day of your life, something that you know is not real, that you have to treat as if it's real, you're already in a surreal situation without having to do anything. But we have to treat them like they're real because that's the thing that's putting us in jail. That's the thing that's denying us our employment. That's the thing that's getting people killed, right? Is this fictive?
The Sopranos and Twin Peaks utilize traditional surrealism, but they do so to explore dreams, psychology, and metaphysical reality. They're using surrealism to get at a reality that exists beyond this reality. But Afro-Surrealism doubles back on this and presents a reality again, but it's a reality that is itself inherently surreal for marginalized people.
All you have to do is just exist, and you're in an absurd, surreal situation.
I should be able to use $100 bill, okay? What happened to us was racist.
It was weird.
No, it was racism. Textbook.
There's realism and surrealism. But adding another prefix, Afro, black above reality. That's what it means. So it changes the meaning of surrealism as much as surrealism changed the meaning of realism.
Miller emphasized to me that his intent was for this manifesto to be an inclusive document, that Afro-Surrealism was for anyone marginalized on the basis of class, race, gender, or sexuality.
It's not segregationist, it's integrationist. I wanted to include everyone. So if you actually look at the beginning of it, it opens with an indigenous Mexican woman, who? Frida Kahlo.
He quotes the Prince song.
And when did you know that you were a 35-year-old white man?
Well, I've always felt different. I go to the store, the movies, and just be thinking to myself, like, why am I not getting the respect I deserve?
And Atlanta explores identity from many of these angles.
Mr. Paperboy,
Mr. Yeah.
what would you consider yourself?
A rapper?
A straight rapper?
Hell yeah.
Well, I did some research on your lyrics, and they're actually very pro-sexual spectrum.
Oh. Pro what?
Ern is constantly feeling out of place.
I'm not Alonzo.
For the show's characters, there's discomfort in how they're being defined by others based on race.
I didn't choose black.
Or class.
So, you work with Ern, or you an artist?
No, I'm sort of in between things right now. I stay at home mostly.
The now infamous episode Teddy Perkins has many interpretations, but the one that seems most resonant with the broader themes of the show to me is the one that sees Teddy and Benny as two parts of the same, with Benny as an aspect of Teddy's identity he's ashamed of and struggling against.
I wanted to point to the fact that most Black Americans are not fully African. Like, what you're doing is you are creating an identity in order to pacify the white identity that says this is what you are, even though you know for a fact that that's not the entirety of you.
Wait, you've never been to Africa?
No.
You gotta go. Man, it's your motherland. What are you thinking?
Whiteness created these things. Black people are like this. Asian people are like this. Latino people are like this. And we all had to adhere to these fictions that were created for us.
I'm just trying to stay real.
This navigation of identity is tied to the show's exploration of reality and what feels real.
Are Black women considered brunettes?
I just held the balls and put them in the jug.
In this episode, Darius explains simulation theory, while Van discovers that Drake isn't really at Drake's New Year's Eve party, that all the photos that were being posted on Instagram were with cardboard cutouts. Drake is a star whose stardom is reinforced by a projected artifice.
Stars are just a projection of what's actually already inside of our mind.
Dre.
What is real, and why does everything feel so strange? Are Donald Glover and his team intentionally creating an Afro-Surrealist work with Atlanta? Miller pointed out that Alim Smith, the artist commissioned to create the poster for the show's third season, explicitly identifies as an Afro-Surrealist, and that late fashion designer Virgil Abloh, who has collaborated with Glover, also was familiar with the movement. So it seems likely that he's at the very least familiar with the idea, but whether or not it's a conscious intent for the show is hard to say. As Stephanie Robinson, one of the lead writers on Atlanta, told The Guardian, we certainly don't approach episodes and say, hey guys, let's make sure this script is surreal. We're a very specific group of individuals who are probably more drawn to the unusual, the strange, and the otherworldly. It's just personal taste, not a verbalized mandate. Or as Brian Tyree Henry, who plays Alfred, said in another interview, we honestly didn't think Atlanta was going to be seen as a comedy, but you have to be able to laugh at the absurd to keep from crying. Atlanta's Afro-Surrealism forces me to challenge my assumptions about the world. It causes me to examine if what I take for granted as normal is creating an absurd reality for others. In a privileged position, when trying to understand the experience of all kinds of marginalized people, I think it's typical to try to fit those experiences into a simple narrative that alleviates the burden on you, where you're not a part of the problem anymore, or somehow never were. But in many ways, those oversimplified narratives end up being a denial of the ongoing reality of marginalization, so the attempts of the privileged to move past those issues can just end up feeding into the absurdity of the situation for the marginalized. But Atlanta doesn't let you do that. It forces you to confront this absurdity with its layers and layers of complexity. It forces you to consider the absurdity of our own world. It's not a show that's here to provide an easy answer. It's one that asks meaningful questions. It's a show that says, you think you see what's going on? Look again. Special thank you to D. Scot Miller for taking the time to chat with me for this video. It's Oscar season, and if you want to see my reaction and thoughts on last night's Oscars, you can watch that right now exclusively on Nebula. Nebula is a streaming service created by and for creators like myself, where we can publish our content early and without ads. And there's a bunch of bonus and exclusive content just on Nebula. You might have seen I just launched a podcast called Cinema of Meaning, which you can listen to everywhere, but if you're a Nebula subscriber, you'll get episodes early and without any ads. The best way to get access to Nebula is with the CuriosityStream Nebula bundle. CuriosityStream is a streaming service for documentary and educational content. They have tons of great content. Go check out their library. They have great documentaries like one of my favorites, Art and Craft. And the amazing thing is they've partnered with Nebula, so when you sign up for CuriosityStream using my link, you'll get access to Nebula for free. The entire bundle of both streaming services is less than $15 for the entire first year. It's a great deal. You can get access to it right now by going to curiositystream.com/ThomasFlight or clicking the link on the screen. Go there, watch my Oscars coverage, and get early access to the next episode of Cinema of Meaning.